What's going on YouTube? It's Ben, and I'm about to debunk some myths about recruiting. Now, one of the biggest myths I hear all the time about recruitment, especially upon startup, is that you have to have a niche to start. I can tell you from personal experience that you 100% do not need a niche to start a recruiting agency. In fact, in my mentorship program, link in description by the way, I promote the fact that you don't need to start with a niche and that you shouldn't start with a niche. In fact, you should actually spread out and work on multiple niches when you start up. The reason I promote this is because sticking to just one niche is going to really bog you down. Let's say you start up and you want to go after finance and place CPAs, or you want to get into IT and do software developers. You're simply going to be chugging along, trying to work in that particular niche, maybe not getting any traction, maybe not getting any quick wins, and you're going to get incredibly demoralized. Instead of being demoralized and beaten down, why not spread your wings out and actually approach multiple niches? Why not do production, manufacturing, transportation, generalized labor, try out IT, try out finance. Just spread your net wide, cast a wide net, figure out what works and what doesn't work. Some things are going to work really, really well for you and some won't. You always have the opportunity to toss what doesn't and keep what does. The myth that you actually need to start in one area of expertise is just complete folklore. It's just not necessary. I will say, however, that once you get into the business after startup mode, let's say you're 6 months to a year in, you will eventually find a field that works really, really good for you. That might be finance, that might be law, that might be whatever it is. And when that works really good for you and it's paying you a lot of money, you're going to want to stay in that space and that will become your niche. But to start a recruiting agency, you 100% do not need a niche, and that is a myth. The second myth about starting a recruiting agency is that you need partners or staff. Listen, honestly, there couldn't be something further from the truth. This literally sounds like a nightmare to me personally, and I will tell you, a partner will simply take 50% of your income and they will complicate your business like none other. On top of that, if you incorporate trying to add staff to your business, you're basically a sinking ship from the start. As a startup recruiting agency, you have to be incredibly nimble. You don't need all this capital to be paying people salaries to be working for you. You need to be the person that's doing all of the action. You need to be a lone wolf going after it and making your six-figure business work. I know tons and tons of people that are doing this exactly. Once they scale, once they get larger, maybe they can consider hiring out and bringing on a partner if they want to. But ultimately, it is definitely not a prerequisite to starting a recruiting agency. When you think about starting a business, you have a particular vision, you have a dream, you have a goal, and reaching those particular goals and dreams is not going to happen when you have someone else next to you that has their own vision, their own goals, and they are not going to see it the same way you do. It will never work out that way. Unless you are far along established and your company has already reached $1 million billing and you're already at that point, it just does not make sense at all to bring people on board unless you just simply can't do things with other people around you. And I know people are like that, but I would highly advise you that this is a complete myth and you don't need a partner, you don't need staff. Now, the third myth that I would like to debunk about starting a recruiting agency is that you need prior experience with an agency or a company. Look, people argue with me all the time about this, but it's just categorically false. 100%. I am personally speaking to you as a person who set up a recruiting agency after just a 5-year sales background and made 6 figures in my first 6 months. You absolutely don't need any experience whatsoever other than your own know-how and bootstraps. The people that will tell you that you need corporate recruiting experience or agency recruiting experience before you can start your own recruiting agency are the people that have done it that way. You are taking a different route. So it's totally natural, and I totally get why those people teach and preach all day long that you need experience from a company or you need prior experience at an agency to ever go out on your own. You need 3 or 5 years experience. And it's just total myth. You 100% do not. Now, I totally know that I'll get a bunch of comments dropped on this video about how I'm totally wrong and how you definitely need corporate recruiting experience or agency recruiting experience, and you need to learn from the training manual of Robert Half or Aerotech before you could ever think about going on your own. But like I said before, 100% myth. You absolutely do not need prior experience to start your own recruiting agency. Call me crazy, but from in my experience talking with tons and tons of recruiters, I've actually realized that the people coming from agency recruiting and corporate recruiting have a much harder time going solo on their own, starting their own recruiting agency, than those who just simply do it from scratch. The reason I say that is because they're so ingrained in certain policies, procedures, and ways of doing things and KPIs, and they're all stuck on this simple structure that the company has taught them, and they don't know how to innovate or just do things differently or dumb it down and make it really simple. And I totally get that. It's a completely different route, right? If you've learned everything from a company 30 years ago that taught you exactly how to cold call and the script to use, or exactly how to interact with clients and exactly what gets the deals done, like that's a different route. But it's 2020, there are much better opportunities available today for you to go solo by yourself right now, and that's that. Now, the fourth myth that I want to debunk about recruiting is that you cannot compete on price. I can literally feel the argumentation in the comments coming right now because I know a ton of people hate this. You absolutely 100% can compete on price. I totally get it. There is total reason to charge the highest fees that you can charge. 20%, 25%. And if you can get those fees, that's excellent. That's perfect. But for the startup recruiter, someone that's just starting their agency, just getting their first client, it's totally reasonable for them to be charging a 10 or a 15% direct hire fee to their client. Competing on price by giving a client 10% or 15% just gives you an in. It gets you in the door. It allows you to sign a contract. Maybe your first contract. Guess what happens after you sign that contract? Your momentum builds. Success breeds success. You learn. Once you've passed that threshold, it's okay to move those fees upward. My strategy has always been to start low, get in the door, do a lot of low fee, high volume business, and then raise fees up from there. It builds confidence, it's a strategy that works, and I simply go with it, and I totally disagree and think it's a complete myth that you can't compete on price. Now, the fifth myth, that was a rhyme by the way, that I want to debunk about recruitment is so stupid that you need a brick and mortar office. I honestly really didn't even want to add this one in as a myth to debunk, but I have to because so many people ask me about it. You 100% do not need any sort of office space or any sort of meeting area to meet clients or candidates. Everything nowadays is virtual. I can tell you once again from personal experience, over 3 years of multi-six-figure revenue, that I have met a client one time, and even that meeting was incredibly pointless. Everything I do is on my phone and on my laptop, Zoom video or conference calls, whatever needs to be done, but it's all virtual. What you don't realize is that hiring managers and the businesses and clients that you work with don't want to meet with you just as much as you don't want to meet with them. So many people have this grand vision that you need to wear a suit and have an office and meet with people constantly in conference rooms and have big, grandiose PowerPoint presentations. It's just not true. It's not real. That's not how it works. It's more like Zoom video or a quick phone chat, maybe 5 or 7 minutes. That includes candidates and clients. Bottom line is, if you do lease an office space, congratulations, you just wasted a ton of money. So that's it. Those are my 5 myths about starting a recruiting agency. Some of them may be shocking to you, or some of them maybe you already knew were totally false just because they're common sense. As always, I hope this video was valuable to you. If it was, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button and the alert button so you know every time I come out with a new video. Until then,